Harlems of the world. I'm Terri Wisdom, and this is Harlem Network News. Harlem Network News is a media platform. We started at the onset of COVID, and we are still here. We consider ourselves an essential service, making sure that Harlem and Harlems of the world and the world are informed, engaged, and called to action. I want to just start off this day, this interview, with really paying homage to one of our Harlem giants, Lloyd Williams of the Harlem Week and the Greater Harlem Chamber of Commerce that passed away. And we will be doing his homegoing this Saturday on the 23rd. I also want to pay homage to Sister Sharon, the wife of Vosa Rivers, who also passed away the day before. So these are giant losses, but we here in Harlem are prepared. The baton has been passed, and we have to continue our work. I know in the case of Sister Sharon, they're being asked for donations to Impact Repertory Theater, which is one of our great youth institutions. Well, today, here on Harlem Network News, we have the honor and the privilege to have representatives from the National Action Network, which you say Reverend Al Shapton or Rev, and everybody knows what that is. And we're right here in New York. We're getting ready for the March on Wall Street, which is an inaugural march. We have been doing the March on Washington, but this is the March on Wall Street. And I have members of the NAN team here. I have Ashely Sharpton here. I have Reverend Ron McHenry here from the team, and some other team members are going to probably join us shortly. But I just want to really give a thanks to Ashely Sharpton for coordinating this, for texting back and forth and making tweaks and adjustments. And I also want to salute her for inclusion. As we know, teamwork is dream work. I approached Ashely because it's easy directly, in those youth huddles on Monday to talk to Ashely, but she immediately was about bringing in the team. So that tells you something about National Action Network and the inclusion and what it takes to put these kinds of projects together. And I also want to salute Ashely and her sister Dominique, who will join us shortly, because they are children of the movement. And that was something that was featured at the conference this year, children of the movement, because it's not easy to be a child of the movement and pick up that big baton. So thank you so much. We're going to get started. Ashely, if you would just introduce yourself and just share with us, what is the National Action Network? What is it? Briefly, how did it come about? And what are some of the kinds of missions that are happening? Thank you.
Well, thank you, Queen Terri Wisdom, for that introduction. Thank you for opening up with regards to Lloyd Williams, who was a friend to Nan since I was a little girl, and he was a pillar in Harlem. So he definitely will be missed, and we all will be joining his loved ones, especially his son Ade, on Saturday to pay him respect and salute to the Rivers family as well. I didn't know that the matriarch passed away, so my respect to the entire family as well. So getting started with your question, I'm jumping right in. The National Action Network is one of the leading civil rights organizations in the nation. It was founded by my father, Reverend Al Shapton, in 1991. And we have over 120 chapters. We follow in the civil rights tradition of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And we basically push a modern day civil rights agenda for decency, justice, and equal opportunities for all people, regardless of race, sex, or ethnicity or belief, basically. So that's the general, basically what we do. Since I was a little girl, growing up into it, I consider Nan my younger sibling, even though they're the most known in the family. But basically, all I knew was all I knew was basically that my father, I call him Rev, was
Okay.
outside fighting for justice for our people to make this country better for our people. As I got older, I understood exactly what National Action Network is. And though Reverend Sharpton is probably our most notable or like most known advocate, it is basically a network full of activists, advocates, and concerned people who want better for us, for our own. And first, of course, it started out of civil rights and mostly black members, but we have members of all races, all beliefs, all ages. And it's interesting and it's a beautiful thing for me, even though I used to run away from the task or the assignment. It's beautiful for me to
Understandable.
see this generation, like Reverend Ron, who is the same age as myself, like Minister Christian, who is the youth and college president, who is 20 years old,
Oh,
like my sister Dominique Sharpton, who is 1 year older than me, who's 38 years old, all
okay.
under the age of 40,
Okay.
basically turning our passion and turning our strategy and our creativity into the movement, into helping what Reverend Sharpton started in the 90s, what Reverend Jackson started in the 70s, what Reverend King started in the 60s, and so many before them, but basically paying it forward. It's unfortunate that we're still fighting today. It's unfortunate that there's something the rights that we won and the protections that we won, we now have to fight again. But Coretta Scott King also said that we have to fight. We have to fight every generation. Basically, we have to win for our generation. So even though it's a burden, even though we are not happy that we have to do this, we feel it is our duty to fight for freedom. It is our duty to win. It is our duty to go forward. And that's one of the reasons why we are leading the March on Wall Street. Like you said, the March on Washington in 1968, we have had not we, I don't want to say we because I didn't organize it, but my father, Reverend
Mhm.
Jackson, have led the commemorations. The NAACP Urban League have joined us in partnership, leading the commemorations for years. My sister, Dominique Sharpton, helped to organize the 25th one and the last anniversary we did in 2020. So I was looking forward to her sharing her experience with
Yeah.
that. But she has been a light for us. Minister Marsha has been a light for us in order to help us lead and organize this March on Wall Street. It's different now, and it's interesting. It's kind of prolific that seeing what's going on in DC and how it's locked down. I hear that Trump said he's going to go out tonight and march the streets with the cops, basically for law and order. But I feel it would have been much more difficult to have the March on Washington this year to commemorate properly with proper respect with what's going on in Washington. So Reverend Sharpton called a March on Wall Street on January 20th of this year on King Day, and it also happened to
All
coincide
right.
on Inauguration Day. And we will be marching on Wall Street because the DEI fight, and I'm not going to go and go into all of that because Reverend Ron is the leader, has been
No,
leading
go
our
right in.
picket,
Go right in.
our picket for
Please.
the
We're
last
coming to you
85
next, Reverend Ron.
Please.
weeks.
Come on.
But and that's a great pivot to bring him in. But basically, this is an extension of our DEI fight. DEI, for those who do not know what that is diversity, equity, and inclusion. And it is basically the major word is equity. And you can loop that right into Wall Street and why we are going to Wall Street. Civil rights fight is not complete without economic inclusion. The dream that Dr. King started and had and fought for, that vision, that dream is incomplete if we do not have economic justice. So that's why we are going to Wall Street. That's why there's a march on Wall Street. And that's DEI is one of the major pillars of the March on Wall Street. But I want to bring in Reverend Ron McHenry, who literally is the lead organizer in New York City for the March on Wall Street, of course, after Reverend Sharpton. But he has been helping to galvanize, mobilize, not just for this march, but every week they have been outside. We have been outside, but they have been outside of anti-DEI Crusader Bill Ackman's office. And Reverend Ram, you can jump right in and introduce
Okay.
yourself. Sorry, I went
Thank
on a
you
tangent. I'm sorry.
thank you for
No,
making
that
it
was great. That
plain.
was like a river of information, and
I
I was
love
just
it.
soaking it in it. Thank you for that. I feel blessed to be amongst you all, Miss Terry, Ashley, and Christian, who are on the call.
All right.
I got stirred up already. It was beautiful. My connection to the National Action Network and the family is both personal to me and also part of my mission in life, mission driven. I'm the coordinator at the House of Justice, the headquarters of the National Action Network. And we have been committed to carrying forward the vision of our leader, the one and only Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton, and his 60 years of ministry of justice. It's not just a moment, but he built a movement, and we are just grateful to be a part of that, watching God use this man and speak truth to power, to tell Pharaoh generation after generation, let my people go. We are
Absolutely.
rooted in the Dr. King legacy, as Ashely just stated, which is basically nonviolent direct action. That's been an ongoing fight for 85 weeks, as she stated. We've been doing non-violent direct action in front of Bill Ackman's office, the architect of the one who fought against taking down DEI by ousting the former president, Claudine Gay. And so we have been shedding a light on his office for 85 weeks. Other groups have now joined in on the DEI fight, but we got out there right when it started. This is about an ongoing fight of equity and dignity for all people. That's what's so beautiful about this organization. It's one of the reasons why I joined, because it's in the King tradition, because it's in the Christ nonviolent tradition. As one of the leading organizers in New York, there are many. I want the people to come out for the march. I want them to get on the bus. This is a systemic and symbolic gathering, uh, and an intergenerational call for everybody of all ages, all colors, to come out. And what's important about this march is there have been other marches against this MAGA administration, but this is the first one called by us for us to lead in this since he took office. And we need everyone to stand arm in arms, to cry loud and spare not. We will no longer stand by while we see economic justice perpetuate inequality in our country. This march is about demanding economic justice. It's about demanding reform. It's about touching lives. It's about touching every community in all its diversity, whether it's Black, brown, working class, immigrants, disabled, and beyond. The people can participate by showing up at Foley Square, which is the African burial ground by Times Square. And I just want to highlight the reason why there is an African burial ground in the first place is because they didn't want us to be buried with their kids. And so because there was an exclusion, we have, when we came to this country, we didn't come of our own fruition. We were dragged here to work for free. Then we built this economic industry that became a world power. We made cotton, king, and tobacco. And now those who are wealthy were able to finance all of that wealth that we created for them on Wall Street. We built Wall Street because the Indians were attacking the Dutch and the British. And so we actually built the wall that we were sold on. And so we have, as a people, never marched on Wall Street, even though all that history exists. Foley Square, which has the African burial ground, is just a small part. They actually built on top of our own dead bodies, buildings in Foley Square.
Wow.
And so we're going there to resurrect our ancestors. We're going over there to prophecy on August 28th at 10 a.m. And we're asking everybody that knows and those that don't to bring somebody. We're going to march there in the thousands, and we're going to prophesy to these dry bones known as America, that equality and liberty is for all people, not just those who are privileged, not just those who are rich, and not just those who get tax breaks. And so we are inviting everybody to join in on this fight. This is not just a moment. This is a movement we are building on. Again, this is August 28th at 10 a.m. Well, how do they register? You go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net, or you could call 877-626-4651. So what can you do when you call us? Tell us you want to volunteer. Some people want to come just spectate, but if you want to volunteer, there's ample opportunity. We're asking for everybody to get involved, from all colors and all creeds and all backgrounds. We are saying that business will not go down as usual. We're going straight to Wall Street, where those who prosper on the backs of everyday families who struggle, to let them know, hey, we are the people, and that we are talking about people over dollars. We know that power is not built over how much money you have. We know that just because you have a lot of money does not make it right what you're doing. Just because you get bills passed on the backs of the poor does not make it right. Just because you have a friend in the White House does not make it right. We're there to stand on righteousness and justice. August 28th. So we're inviting everybody to
Okay,
come out. We want to let everyone know, Terry. We want to let
Say
everybody
so.
know.
okay. I love it. I'm Terry Wisdom, and this is Harlem Network News. And we are here with the National Action Network family and Reverend Al Shapton at the helm of that family. And we are talking about the historic March on Wall Street. And we are making history now, just having this conversation and making sure folks are informed. And really, it's at such a time as this. There is so much going on. And it is ironic, as Sister Ashely said, that normally at this time, we would be doing the March on Washington, commemorating the historic March on Washington. But we're looking at what is the state of Washington, D.C. right now, being taken over by federal troops. We have to send prayers out for all of those that are in Washington. We have our iconic HBCU, Howard University, which sits in the middle. So we are praying for those youth and just trying to make sure that they are under protection. I have, I got legacy at Howard University. I have one granddaughter there, nephew there, graduate that is also still living in DC. And pretty much you got to give everybody the talk, watch for the stop and check, because more of that is going on. So it's a state of siege. So what we're doing right now with this March on Wall Street says a lot, especially with everything that is going on in Texas, with the legislators having to leave the state and being locked up in the state room. I mean, this is the news, Legionnaire's disease happening right here in Harlem. We got a lot going on. And at the core of this is the economics of it, the disparities that are basically happening to the people of color and also to the poor people. So, and when things happen to that group, it's a snowball to other groups. So nobody is going to be untouched. If there's poverty, there's going to be people laying in the streets. There's going to be mental illness. There's going to be crime. It's like economic root. So I'm going to go to our minister Christian. He's right here with us and part of the youth and the college participation in National Action Network. So Christian, please tell us who you are, whose you are, what you do, and why you do it. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much, Ms. Terry. And thank you to everybody, to Ashely and Reverend Ron. I'm Christian Matthew. I serve as the National Youth and College President, where I help to really be one of the national leaders of the National Action Network, particularly dealing with the Youth and College Division. And to echo what everybody has said already, we are in the fight for our lives. That is what I have been saying to every young person that has been asking about the March on Wall Street. We are truly in the fight for our lives. And Reverend Sharpton says it every week. When we grow up, and Rev is at an age now where he has his own children, he has his grandson. But when Marcus Al asks him in 10 years, what did he stand for? He wants to be able to say that he was able to stand up to Donald Trump when nobody else would. That when companies were failing and falling at the knees of the president and bowing to the music, as we know in the scripture, it talks about the three Hebrew boys not bowing to Nebuchadnezzar, but everybody else is bowing. But Reverend Sharpton has been one of the leaders to say we will not bow to this music and that we are taking a stand, and our stand will not be in Washington. And it's a good thing. Rev came up with this idea a long time ago, along with whoever else, was with him and in that coalition of building this. They came up with this idea long ago that we would go to Wall Street and not to Washington. And look at what's happening now with Donald Trump and what he's doing. I spoke to our Howard chapter, and they have to go through several checkpoints throughout the city. They have to go through several checkpoints to get onto their campus. And so, it's not fair. It's not right. But of course, the National Action Network, as Action is our middle name, is standing up and fighting back from the oppression of this administration, fighting back against all the things against DEI. DEI is what allows us to go to these schools that are not HBCUs. I go to a school that's a PWI. So I am a recipient of what they are calling DEI, but it is not because I am Black. That's not the only reason that I got into the school. But if you look at my GPA, if you look at my credits, if you look at everything else that I did, it should not be just the simple fact that we are Black. And that's what they're trying to make it seem. And Trump is saying that, you know, all of these crazy, heinous things. But that's not really what it is, because the same way that he's going after DEI, you know, he's not saying anything about these students that get in with these legacy scholarships where their families, you know, pay millions of dollars, and, you know, they have names and they have legacy there. And so that automatically gets them in, you know, and, you know, who predominantly are recipients of that, the other side. So I'm just basically, in simple terms, we are fighting, and this is the fight for our lives. And as young people, we need to be at the forefront of this fight, because Reverend Sharpton and everybody that is before us, they are now getting to an age where it is shifting of the mantle, and that the fight that they had is not the fight that we have. And this is a new fight. This is a different fight. And we're leaning on the wisdom of our elders to guide us. But we are also taking a stand and taking a lead as the next generation in this.
Okay, I think we lost your sound, Christian, but that's okay. I'm Terri Wisdom, and this is Harlem Network News. And we were just speaking with Minister Christian, who is one of the youth leaders. And I trust he's got students coming from schools all over the country. It's a powerful thing. And the tide changes. When I was in college, basically in the early 70s, there was a swell and a movement because it was the Vietnam War. There were just so many changes, and a lot of the movement, I'm Black and I'm proud, all of that was coming out of the movement of the youth. I also realized that probably in my generation, I witnessed like 5 assassinations, you know, from Martin, you know, Dr. Martin Luther King to President John Kennedy, to his brother, to Malcolm X. I mean, this is stuff that we saw in our lifetime, which I think, and the Vietnam War, which was mainly taking youth. So I think, you know, the circumstances sometimes dictate what is happening. And I think circumstances like students at Howard University having to have checkpoints, you know, parents and grandparents having to say to young people, hey, you know, if you're driving, make sure this, that, if you're walking, you know, what's the talk for you to respond? And one of the things that I think is very important, I'm Terri Wisdom, this is Harlem Network News, we must be real clear that DEI basically has benefited white women. We're at the back end of it, you know, so we need to be real clear. And growing up as a young Black person, I was always told, you got to be 3 times as good. So that's what we're talking about. So we want to just move to some closing statements, because everybody on this call, as we are now, I believe it's 9 or 8 days away from the 28th.
7 days away.
7 days away. Okay, let's get it right. You know, this just doesn't happen by osmosis. This is some of the core of the team, and consistency, meetings, organizing, that's what gives this great swell and turnout. And even with all of the things that Reverend Sharpton is doing, he is at National Action Network every Saturday. He is doing his MSNBC, which I know they're changing the name, you know, every week. So it's consistency. And this is representative of that teamwork and dream work. So if everyone will just start with you, Reverend Ron, to just say a few closing words and what you want to say. Christian, will have you say a few words, and we're going to close it out with our sister, Ashely Sharpton. Thank you. Reverend Ron.
Yeah, so I want to say thank you, Terri, for this experience. As you were talking about diversity, equity, inclusion, we know that DEI does not put us in the front of the line, but it puts us on the line. And so these DEI programs were proven to close the wealth gap, which is the issue As we look at Donald Trump in this age, who promised if we get rid of immigration, then Black jobs would increase. And we've seen that to be a plain lie, right? So we need to understand the importance of diversity, equity, inclusion, and continue to fight for it, because what is there to replace it? Uh, Donald Trump, who is this great businessman who everybody believes in, promised that this economy will be better, and the report on jobs came out. We see that the economy produced only 73,000 jobs, the lowest in years. And
Wow.
Black unemployment has risen 7.3% under Donald Trump. So instead of him fixing jobs, he's actually taking our jobs. We've seen thousands of people deported
Okay.
by men in masks, and we are saying it is time for us to stand up and march on Wall Street.
All right, Christian, quickly, and then we want to go to Ashely because we got to go. Okay.
Yes. Thank you so much. To echo Reverend Ron, we are just continuing in the fight for justice. Everything that Trump said he was going to do, he is doing, and it is negatively affecting our community. And this is just the beginning of what is called Project 2025. And if we don't wake up as a people, and if this generation doesn't wake up, everything that our ancestors, that our forefathers fought for, are going to be stripped away. So this is the fight now, and we must continue in it.
Okay, thank you. And Ashely Sharpton, let's go.
Amen. As you said earlier, you said you saw a lot of assassinations and that caused you to be involved. Reverend Ron listed basically what's going on right now. It's not assassinations. And in 2020, when we had the March on Washington, it was we saw George Floyd, and we saw Ahmaud
Yes.
Arbery, we saw Breonna
Yes.
Taylor, we saw
All
so many.
assassinations.
So it was, but it was on camera being killed, literally.
Mhm.
So it was 200,000 people came out in the pandemic to DC to march. This time we're not seeing that. This is sneakier. Project 2025 has snuck in, and they know what they were doing this time. We were not ready. A lot of people were just gallivanting in Kamala Harris, not understanding the fight of our lives was happening. As Christian just said, this is a fight for our lives. What's going on, the March on Wall Street, for those who do not understand how to fight back, because a lot of people are afraid, join us so you can come learn what we're doing and how to do it. Come and join those who are not afraid, who have been here before and who know how to fight. A lot of people don't know how to fight in my generation. A lot of people younger than us don't know what's going on. And it's not just about Palestine. It's about what's going on right here in our country. We want you to join us before it's too late for you to join us. Simply that.
Okay, well, thank you for that. I'm Terri Wisdom. This is Harlem Network News, and there are certainly many issues, from Palestine to Ukraine, and all of this is an economic drain from this country. This is our money, Social Security, and also media. Media is very important. Media matters. Black grassroots media, like a Harlem Network News, matters. So we can get the information out. Critical that we tell our own stories. So please reach out to us with news and information. We are at harlemnetworknews@gmail.com, harlemnetworknews.com or .org, and 646-261-5397. And certainly we need your support. We need you to donate, because once again, it's the economic disparities. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you all for joining. And look into their website to get that information. If you need to go on a bus, buses will be leaving from the National Action headquarters right here in Harlem on 145th and around the country. So make your way, because marching can do something. It shows. We've seen it do something before, and there's going to be a takeaway. We're in numbers, and we're standing strong at such a time as this. I'm Terri Wisdom, and this is Harlem Network News. And thank you all for joining us. And they got to go to move on to some work. I got to go. I got to go to a meeting on Legionnaires right here in Harlem. So there's a lot going on, and we have to take a stand. And this takes courage. So thank you. Have a great evening.